Secret 4. The Riddle of the Ancient Monuments. Why England megaliths not temples, build a map of the sky. Official scholarship holds that England's megaliths, Stonehenge, Ave, Silbury Hill, Castlerigg, were built by Neolithic peoples between 3,500 and 2,000 years before our era. They were ritual centers tied to the solstices, to burial and to farming. Their stones are local sandstone and Welsh bluestone, transported, perhaps, by land or by water. Simple, logical, convenient. We shall conduct our own investigation, beginning with one question no archaeologist asks aloud. Why isn't Stonehenge a temple? Why isn't it a place of worship? Why isn't it a sundial? And what if it isn't even of this earth? What if its stones were arranged not to track the sun, but to map the stars as they appeared 12,000 years ago? Why, at the center of Stonehenge, do 3 stones form a precise geometric triad matching the belt of Orion? Why 24 upright stones on the outer circle, like 24 hours? Why 56 pits, which give the Aubrey Holes their name, not for posts, on this theory, for stars? Why, if you draw lines from Stonehenge to Ave to Castlerigg, do you get a perfect triangle matching the triangle formed by the constellations around Orion? Coincidence, or a cosmic map? Historical context. In 1740, the Scottish scholar John A. Wallis is said to have first suggested that Stonehenge was more than a mere circle of stones, that it was a model of the sky cast in stone, showing to those who knew how to look not what happens here, but what happened there, when the earth was young. His words were ignored, but in 1963, the astronomer Gerald Hawkins of Boston University fed the coordinates of 120 Stonehenge stones into a computer at the Boston Institute of Astronomy. He ran a simulation of the sky as it would have appeared in the year 3100 before our era. The result, Stonehenge, he claimed, matched the sky of 3100 BCE to 98.7%. He reported that the midsummer sunrise aligned precisely with Aldebaran, the midwinter sunset aligned with Rigel, and the central triad aligned with the 3 stars of Orion's belt. Hawkins is said to have declared at a conference in Oxford in 1965 that this was not a temple but an observatory, not for watching the sun but for recording the stars, that these people knew the sky itself would change and fixed it in stone, that they were not praying, but remembering, that they built not for a god, but for whoever would come 10,000 years later. But in 1988, the archaeologist John Maces is said to have found, inside one of the pits, the impression of a human hand, not carved, not scratched, but pressed, as though someone had pushed a palm into wet stone to leave a mark. And beside it, an inscription rendered as a pattern of dots, not Celtic, not Roman, not otherwise legible. When in 2010, the Mitchell Laboratory at Cambridge applied laser scanning and AI analysis, they are said to have decoded it as follows: 3 dots for Orion, 4 dots for the Milky Way, and 1 further dot matching no known star at all, not a star, but the place where a star should have been, and was not. But here the mystery deepens. Alternative theories. 1. Pre-Indo-European astronomy theory, from Dr. Agnes Shelley, University of Toronto, 2014. She argues that Stonehenge could not have been built by Neolithic tribes, since there is no evidence they possessed geometry, mathematics, or astronomy, but that Celtic myth speaks of the people who came before memory, who built star places, who were not human, but something like echoes left behind after the death of the world. Shelley suggests that Stonehenge was not built at all, but grown, like a crystal, a geometry born from the earth, and that its stones were not transported, but arose of themselves, at points where the earth's energy met the energy of the stars. 2. The megalithic map of the ages theory, from Dr. Robert Finlay, Oxford, 2007. He claims to have found that all of England's major megaliths, 147 known monuments, sit within a precise geometric network corresponding to the night sky of 10,900 years before our era, some 12,900 years before the present. That, he notes, was the time when the last ice age was ending, when, according to NASA data, a sudden cooling struck North America and Europe, the Younger Dryas, possibly triggered by a comet strike. Finlay argues that these people were not building temples, but monuments to survivors, that they knew the world was dying and did not want its memory lost, and so encoded the sky into the earth, so that whoever came after, when the sky changed again, would know we existed and we knew. He points to claimed alignments. Stonehenge, matching Orion as it appeared in 10,900 BCE. Avery, matching the Pleiades. Silbury Hill, matching Centaurus. Castlerigg, matching Cassiopeia. All 147, he claims, align precisely, as though someone had drawn the night sky of 12,000 years ago onto a map of Britain. The Atlantis Connection Theory, from Dr. Margaret Bride, King's College London, 2020. She claims to have found in the archive of St. Alfred a text fragment dated to the year 880, stating that those who came before spoke of the land beneath our feet as once part of a greater land, which sank, and that the stones are pages torn from its books, that whoever finds all the pages will learn how not to sink the next time. Bride argues that the megaliths are not monuments but keys, that they do not point to the stars, but to the place from which came those who knew how to die, but not how to disappear. And there is said to be one further strange fact. In 2014, ground-penetrating radar beneath Stonehenge reportedly found a buried cylinder, 18 meters long and 4 meters in diameter, said to be made of a metal unknown in the Neolithic period, with a composition of nickel, chromium, and molybdenum, an alloy said never to have occurred naturally in Britain, before or since, and found only in extremely ancient tectonic layers in Cappadocia. It is claimed in meteorites linked to Andromeda. And in 2021, isotope analysis is said to have shown that this metal was not of terrestrial origin at all, but had come from the sky. The mystical, speculative angle. Now for the strangest part. In 1998, the astronomer Richard Butler is said to have noticed that lines drawn from Stonehenge to Avebury to Silbury Hill form the Orion Triangle, but inverted on the map of the Earth, and that if you flip the map and view it from the sky, as though you yourself were a constellation, everything lines up exactly, precisely, as though it were a reflection. And he is said to have done something remarkable. He projected the map of the megaliths onto the sky of 10,900 BCE, and the two matched like a shadow cast on a mirror. In other words, the Earth, on this account, is a mirror, and the sky its reflection. What if these people were not building for themselves? What if they were building for someone who would look down from the sky? In the ancient text known as the Words of Silbury, said to have been found in the library at Glastonbury, it is claimed that when the sky burns and the earth sinks, and people forget their names, the stones will remember, and that those who come after will see, not hands, not speech, not prayers, but a shape, and will understand. We existed, we knew, we did not die, we hid. Now consider, Stonehenge has 56 pits. 56 is 2 times 28. 28 is 7 times 4. 7 is the number of divine perfection. 4 is the number of the elements. 56, in this reading, is 7 squared minus 7. 7 squared is 49. 49 minus 7 is 42. 42, the script claims, is a number that always goes missing from official maps. Why? Because, according to a text called the Gaia Codex, said to have been found in 1976 in the cellar of Blackby Abbey, all megaliths are not monuments but records, a record of what came before, and of what is to come, and 56, on this account, is not a count of pits, but a count of souls that never left, remaining in the stone, waiting for the day the sky ceases to be the sky, when they will open a door and say, "Do not forget." Unveiling the true secret. The fourth secret is not one of stones, but of the memory of time. These megaliths, on this account, are not temples. They are archives. Their builders were not tribes. They were the last keepers. Of those who knew the world would die, they did not build for a god. They built for a humanity not yet born. They did not pray. They recorded. They did not believe in a god. They believed in what might be forgotten. Their weapon was not the sword. Their shield was not a wall. Their key was geometry. They knew the script argues that destroying a language destroys a people, and destroying writing destroys history. But geometry cannot be destroyed because it is not a word. It is the structure of reality itself. Stonehenge on this reading is not simply a circle. It is a matrix. The stones are bits, the pits are memory, the lines are code, and if you add together all 147 megaliths, the script claims you get not a map of Britain, but a map of how to survive an apocalypse. Because to survive, on this account, means not forgetting what the sky looked like before it burned. The fourth secret, then, is the secret of a consciousness that outlived catastrophe. They did not perish. They did not let themselves disappear. They created a record that cannot be destroyed, because it was never written. It was built, and if you ever stand at Stonehenge and watch the sun rising over the stone, remember the narrator says, you are not looking at the sun. You are looking at your ancestors, who knew that a day would come when no one would remember their names. And they decided not to let that happen. This, the script insists, is not history. It is a message. And it still lives. In the stone, in the earth, in the sunlight, in everyone who asks, why? The fourth secret is the secret of a mind that survived, one that knew. A stone is memory, and memory is salvation. History still holds many secrets, and they are waiting for someone to listen.